You're listening to Mad Scientist Radio. Hello again, I'm Ian.
And I'm Andrew.
And welcome to the show.
How you doing?
I'm actually not too bad today. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm pretty good.
We could do a whole episode on that. But today we're going to talk about why cheap SEO companies are bad. I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, cheap SEO companies. Now, what we mean by cheap isn't necessarily in a monetary sense, but in their tactics, in their methods. Cheap SEO companies are what I call content mills, which simply means that they write absolutely rubbish articles. They post them onto as many article directories as they possibly can, sometimes hundreds. If you believe some, they say thousands, but I really don't think there's that many out there. They call that article marketing. Now,
there's another term
article
thrown
marketing,
into the mix.
Yeah. Article marketing really worked maybe 3 or 4 years ago, but since Google updated the way they rank websites, they did a huge update a couple of years ago now, which was called Panda, and that really affected a lot of these article directories. One of the ones that it affected for a while was eZine Articles, Article Alley as well.
So what's the point in writing these, so-called sort of rubbish articles and putting them all over the internet?
Well, the idea is that you have an article based on whatever your website is about. You put in a couple of links with your keywords, and then you post them onto all these article directories, meaning that for every single article directory that you post to, you get 2 or 3 backlinks pointing from that website to yours, and that's supposed to help you get higher rankings.
Okay, in theory, but of course we can go into why that doesn't work.
Absolutely.
In a future episode.
Yeah. The thing is that a lot of these article directories have been de-indexed by Google over the years because all they are, they're just content mills.
Okay, so de-indexed meaning they just fall off the face of the search engine map.
Yes.
And don't count.
Yes, exactly. And then when you've got cheaper SEO companies telling you things like, we will submit your website to 500 directories. We will get you to the first page of Google in 48 hours. We have an inside man at Google.
That's my favourite.
We have cracked the Google algorithm code, so we know exactly what Google wants.
That's a believable one. I always believe that when I get those emails.
My favourite is, we will submit your website to thousands of search engines. Now, that in itself is quite laughable because apart from Google, Yahoo, Bing, Ask.com, and 1 or 2 others, that's it, pretty much.
It sounds impressive, though. It makes me want to submit to thousands of search engines.
Yeah, in itself, it's really a useless exercise because you do not need to submit your website to any search engine because if your website is worth a cracker, the search engines will find you.
Okay, so properly optimized is you're not having to worry about search engine submission, as it were.
Yes, it's a thing that we just don't do anymore. They also talk about automated software. We can blast your website to thousands of other websites so that you can get some really good backlinks. There are some, I won't actually name them because I do not recommend anybody using these things. They can create a lot of damage to your website. Now, just to give you a quick example of that, I worked on a company. They were a really high-class lawyer here in Melbourne, in the city, and in about 4 months, I had all of their keywords on the first page. Not necessarily number 1, but they were well on their way to actually getting there. They decided they'll go the cheaper route, so they employed a cheaper SEO company. And I said, fine, okay, lovely. About 2 months ago, I was just curious and I wanted to see how well their website was doing with this other company. I looked at all their keywords, and would you believe not one of them was even in the top 10 pages of Google.
So basically, 100 positions on Google were absolutely clear.
They were nowhere to be found. So I thought, let's have a look at what they call your backlink profile. All that is just basically having a look at where your backlinks are coming from.
And you see that in Webmaster Tools, don't you?
Yes. So I had a look. There are other tools as well that we can use to do that, but yeah. So I had a look, and there were literally tens of thousands of links pointing to their website, which you might think is a good thing. But in this case, they were from various sources such as porn sites, drug sites, like Viagra and all these sort of things, gaming sites, and a lot of totally unrelated, cheap and nasty blogs.
Okay, so essentially not quality, obviously, links from bad neighbourhoods, I guess is
yes.
how it's termed.
Google looks at relevance. That is their big thing now. They want to make the user experience as relevant as possible. So if you've got links pointing to your website from all these useless websites, you are either going to get penalised or you are just going to go down the rankings. Now, I don't know if this website was actually penalised, but all I know is that they were delisted from the top 10 pages, which for a lawyer is a really, really bad thing.
Okay, so what happens in the case of a business has innocently employed an SEO company that has put these tactics in place? What happens as far as how do they move forward from that? Is that they've been penalised, obviously, unbeknownst to them. How do they move forward? Can they get those links removed?
You can. There is something in Google Webmaster Tools which is called the disavow tool. Now, what you need to do there is you need to grab all of those links, put it into the Google Webmaster Tool system there.
Disavow? Or
disavow.
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 Okay, so it's not disembowel.
No.
No. Well, no. There's an important distinction there.
Absolutely. And what that does, it notifies Google saying, okay, these are all links that I do not want. So Google, in their own time, it could take weeks, it could take months, will slowly de-index all of those and not count them towards your linking profile.
Okay, that's great to know.
But that is a hit and miss thing as well. Just on that, there was also another client of mine that, future client, he actually called me and said, look, I was number one for a lot of my keywords. However, now, using a cheaper SEO company, I've disappeared. So I had a look what his problem was, and the same thing happened. Thousands and thousands of rubbish backlinks pointing to his site. He goes, can you fix it? And I said, well, yeah, we can fix it, but it will take a lot of time to get rid of all of those links. I said, you would probably be better off because your website is, I won't swear, but it's stuffed, right? His only option was...
We could bleep it out if you wanted to swear, but that's all right.
But yeah, save us a lot of work. No, his best option was, his quickest option was to register a new domain name. So instead of .com.au, it was his website name, .net.au. That was the quickest way to get him back to where he was because he was so damaged. It was going to take a lot of months of work and a lot of money for him to do that.
So could he ever go back to his old URL, or is that it? He's got to make a move.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, he really had to make a move, so he registered a .net.au.
And then just wait till the domain runs out on the other one, or till it drops off.
Till everything gets de-indexed and torn apart, basically. That's
pretty daunting for businesses who, sometimes these bad techniques aren't always that cheap, like you were saying, in a monetary sense.
Yes.
It still could cost $300 or $400 a month, which is not a whole lot of money, but to undo the damage is potentially thousands of dollars to a business.
Well, everybody gets these emails from these cheaper SEO companies saying, okay, we can do this for you, we can do that for you for $99 a month, or $249 a month, or $20 a month, or whatever it is. Any ridiculous figure like that, that they are going to use automated software. And
they use shock tactics, don't they? I mean,
they do.
They haven't looked at your website.
Yes.
And in the first sentence, they tell you how bad you're doing.
Yes.
Funnily enough, we've even received some emails like that ourselves. We've had to laugh because obviously they haven't done their research. They don't realise we're an SEO company.
Yeah.
Your rankings are in the toilet. You've got to you get that in the first sentence of an email. You've got to set off some alarm bells there.
Absolutely. Any company that uses automated software, they will inevitably use something called article spinners. Now, what an article spinner is, it basically it's a piece of software, it takes your article, and then it would spin it into 100, 200, 1,000 different versions of the same article. However, the problem with that is
that sounds really interesting. We get some good information out of that, or
yeah. I shall give you a really good example of this. If it's not set up properly, then this is a sort of gibberish it will spit out. And here's a snippet of an article that I found on a blog website, and it's the company that employed them was an UGG boot company in Australia somewhere. And the title of this article is ADSF ASDF.
Catchy.
What does that mean? I wouldn't have a clue. Now, some of the article says, advance to say again, the old man opened the door and called the Caspia UGG boot sale. Nangan Shan blossom into the house. The Nangan Shan standard line ritual walked into the room.
Makes sense to me.
Why didn't you? Middle-aged man, base of smile, the face of the fat meat, a shake, seemed Australian UGG boots cheap to reveal to the oil and water. My favourite line is, you say, the wind slowly up from his chair looked up. His face was almost wont to wield the yin griffin before dismembered body for 10,000. Australian UGG boot sale, cheap UGG boots, PayPal. The teacher's heart is to dig out. What certificate?
I love that. The imagery is unbelievable. It makes absolutely no sense, but some of the dismembered body, Australian UGG boots, it's really good for the brand by the sounds of it.
And you can pay by PayPal, don't forget. Yeah.
So
it's the links are there. There's how many links? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 links in that article pointing to Australian UGG boots cheap, whatever that website is.
Excellent. Yeah.
So this is sort of rubbish that these things spit out, and then they distribute this stuff to hundreds of these article directories, which that to them is SEO.
So this is still happening. People are still using these kinds of tactics. Is that
absolutely
like today?
Absolutely.
This is amusing to me that people think that this stuff works in itself. Yeah, I just wonder why people think on any planet that this can work, even from the point of view of the content not flowing. Who wants to read this stuff?
Yep. Well, it's not just these cheap SEO companies that do this. People think they can do this themselves. If you have a look, put in the search term SEO software, do you know how many results come up?
3,000?
Over 41 million of them come up with SEO software. So...
Okay, so there's a lot of companies out there creating this stuff.
Yes.
Knowing probably full well that it's against Google guidelines.
Absolutely.
And just basically taking advantage of people who want a quick fix. Who want to take a shortcut of some kind.
Or a cheap fix. If a company doesn't have a marketing budget that's very high, or if you're just a sole operator that has a website, you mightn't have a lot of money to spend, but really you would be doing yourself a total disservice using this rubbish.
Okay, so from a business point of view, how can they avoid this happening to them? What kind of questions, I suppose, can they ask their potential SEO company?
Well, if you get an email from someone saying we can do this for you for $99, well, warning bells should go up straight away, because there's no way somebody can do what a true SEO company can do for $99 a month without using this rubbish software that will eventually damage your website beyond repair, like this guy I was telling you about before.
Okay, so price. Are you using automated software? That's another question.
Yes, you could ask that.
Other questions, I suppose, to do with article writing?
Yeah, article marketing. What sort of places will you distribute my articles to? Can I proofread the articles before you post them?
You'd really want to after that example you just read out to us.
Well, you would. You would just ask them basically how will they plan to get your site to the top of the search engines?
Okay, Andrew, that's really useful. I think probably this is one of the key subjects which we may want to cover more in more detail, because I think this is probably one of the main reasons why SEO has a bad name, and people tend to cringe when they hear the acronym SEO. Some people don't even know what it stands for and they cringe, which is a testament to how unfortunate people's experiences have been.
Yes. Well, SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization. Automated software will never optimize your website.
Okay.
Plain and simple.
Important distinctions. Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you.
And once again, if you have questions, you can visit our website, madscientistdigital.com. Thanks for listening.
Yeah!